Good morning. It's 8:30 a.m. and we are here for consent agenda review slash work session. So your email you sent us,
Yes,
is he in my district or Cindy's? I just don't want all three of us calling him.
yes, it looks like they're in Cindy's district, but also, John Brissy just responded saying that he has directed Bob Bersanti to reach out to them to address their concerns.
Okay.
And, yeah, they're in Cindy's district, but
I
guess
spoke to
like
Jennifer
yes, I spoke to them.
a couple weeks ago.
Which is fine. I just, like, if you tell him one thing, I tell him one thing, Cindy tells him one thing.
I basically just told them
Then,
that Public Works is working on it, and it's, we're gonna make it right, but it's gonna take some time. That was the extent of my conversation. And then I followed up with her to see if Public Works had gotten back in touch with them, and she gave her husband's phone number and contact because he had been the one talking to him, so. And I just left it at that. I didn't figure there was any sense in 10 people talking to him. Public Works is already on it. I figured that's their deal. So
okay.
Cora just did come in this morning and said that she had a conflicting appointment for HR this morning at 10. They are going to be working on Tyler and to let you know.
Yes.
I was just telling them.
Oh, okay. Good then.
But
So they need to cancel their 10 to 11.
That's a guess. Sorry,
He's a little tired today.
I will be more mindful. Too many things going on at one time.
I was thinking yesterday.
Tyler's way more important than our update.
I guess it depends. We want to keep Tyler moving along smoothly, yes, but my update with you guys is more meaningful. How's that?
Probably easier.
Most of the time, yes. I've never really. Okay, thank you.
And in court from 202 to 209, confusing everybody this morning.
So
Then I had a tire with low air pressure. Before we changed vehicle.
I'm gonna say, were you going to court this morning?
No, but I ran into some people. It's hard when you have two different last names, you're not quite sure where you're. No, I did not have court today, thank goodness. Son. After inquiring about my sound and that you can't hear me very good, Kevin, you're really quiet too, I hear. Word on the street.
That doesn't surprise me.
So something is going on with our two mics. We could probably lower them.
Yeah, they probably just need to lower both of ours because they have soft tones. Rob has them.
I got a voice for radio.
Well, and it sounds like Caitlin is really,
Loud.
yeah, right.
Try
there.
a keyboard, so that way it's not.
No,
loud.
but I think it's just I don't know why they said it's really strong over there.
Heat hours are definitely
Must be
loud.
maybe the.
I
It
think
is-
Caitlin sounds good when the microphone is pointed at her to speak, and then she turns it away when she's not speaking. So I think that's the difference.
Oh,
She had a microphone.
she has the big mic. No wonder.
Somebody else can have that.
Kevin and I will just stand up and talk when it's our turn.
Yeah, Cindy, your voice is just very soft. You don't speak up very strongly, so it's just difficult to hear you.
Can they turn these two mics up, maybe? Is that possible, or?
You bet. Cindy, you put in a ticket, is that correct?
I did an email, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, then the ticket is in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I am West Shore.
Not all of West Shore though. But it is you on that one.
I think Public Works is gonna handle that.
Yeah, I really don't want to start making promises I don't know.
Well, that's just it. Like I told him, I said, Public Works is working on it. Might take a while, but we're gonna make it right. I just left it at that.
Yeah, I see a Richard Lights. I don't recall getting anything from Richard Lights that said he did not want to be on the Board of Ed.
Okay, he said he would be reaching out to you.
Okay.
I'd made it a statement just to make sure he reaches out to the Board of Equalization, but he specifically said he would reach out to you.
Okay.
What's King County Directors Association?
Purchasing organization that provides procurement services to local government agencies in King County. Owned by Washington Public School Districts.
Have a payment to them for $199,000 out of, I think, his REIT 2 account. What would that be for? That ring any bells? King County Directors Association?
Does that have to do with the schools?
King County.
Is that what you said?
Well, if it's our budget, 132 is REIT.
The,
Do we buy something? Do we buy furniture?
it says the purchasing property owned by
Purchasing.
Washington Public School Districts.
Do we buy office equipment? Excuse me.
Wouldn't a $199,000 purchase have to come through us? Or no?
Well, we used to have all those come through on the budget, but once we approve the budget now, apparently it
No,
doesn't
we
have to come
don't.
through. Not sure what, possibly what I thought. We don't approve those anymore. Redundant.
So this 132 account, that's all REIT.
We can probably ask Tom. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna email him and ask him.
Oh, you are, you want me to?
It does either way.
Okay.
I just thought it was on.
What was it Seattle School did?
King County Directors Association, $199,316.
Like it was paid on the 10th of June.
Curious who that is, what that is.
Account must be the jail.
Yep. Was that the one with Will's payment? 240,000.
But for Clemens and Rutherford. But Public Works must have bought a new machine, huh?
Yeah, $500,000. I don't know if redundant would be purchases over 100 grand. Just be nice to know invoices that go out at 100 grand.
Yeah, well, so what it used to be like until probably the last 5 years, we, even if it was approved in the budget, still came before the commissioners, and Gerald liked it because sometimes we don't have money, and so there's these, would be a lot of purchases right in January, but we don't have money in our account. There's been a couple times when we, as a county, had to run out registered warrants because there's just a lot of purchases, we were financially not doing great. So, on those big purchases, it's kind of nice when it does come. But they said, but you've approved it in the budget, why do you need to prove it elsewhere? And so
Because
there was a vote that,
$500,000 checks go out the door and
but it could be
For
for
the
some
fiscal.
construction.
person.
But we used to approve, even if it was approved on the budget, we approved it as secondary within the year.
Yeah, I think we should put that back in for next year. Just at a
Oh, we can
certain,
implement it anytime, but
Oh,
no, this
at a
one was
certain
the,
dollar amount though. Because even the Clemens Rutherford's going out at 240,000. It'd just be nice to be like,
is that a construction though?
that's the jail architect.
Well, and some of those we don't. So much, once it's approve everyone.
No, I don't think it needs
But
necessarily approval. I just think it
Nice
needs
to know that it's going out.
additional. Not like just seeing it more.
Caitlin, can you put that on our roundtable so we can make that change or?
Well, at least then we can ask the question.
30.
Well, we probably get them.
Number 4 is a deny of location. So are we approving to deny?
I thought everything was, yeah,
Request transfer.
when we approve it, it's the denial.
Project, no. That's cool. Transferring the ARPA money. Order. Reimbursement.
When is our moratorium gonna be off? For the cannabis?
Sure. Did we re-implement it while you were here, Kevin? Or was it
I thought we
before?
had to do every 6 months.
We did. If I remember right.
So you gotta do
Kevin,
one.
you were here for the 6 month, when did it sold? The last time they did a moratorium.
Because we can only do it by, is it a year, 6 months at a time?
At a time, because that's what we did on the wind and solar anyway.
We're done, because somebody's asked me, I'm like, I believe we still have a moratorium. Or was that when we adopted it? In December, then it was done. But we have another denial.
That moratorium just for anything outside of like industrial or heavy industrial?
We just were cleaning it up, and so 6 month extension on moratorium on the new marijuana. The moratorium will be in effect through the end of 2024, so maybe we don't have a moratorium. Everyone,
The last ordinance that I have for the moratorium was in July of 2024, so.
so we must be out of it.
We don't have one anymore.
So
Trying to check with Jim.
when we adopted the comp plan,
Adopt the comp plan in 2024.
we had the hearings in 2024, yeah.
I wonder if it's because they changed it
See,
in the comp plan to only be in a light industrial and heavy industrial. Anything outside of that's we're denying. Yes, that was my
let me
understanding.
see. Put it online, planning, Grant County.
Any other questions on consent agenda?
No, but I keep making my own little questions here. Yeah, so it looks like the only one we have a moratorium is wind and solar, so maybe we did the comp plan. Comp plan amendment. But my book is probably upstairs.
I think,
Maybe it's here.
I think they were, gonna do those culverts out on Road 20, out on Stratford, but they're full of water. Have to wait till the water's gone before they can do those. I was just looking at the projects.
Okay, file number 14, okay. So we adopted it. You continue to allow cannabis production and processing in the urban light industrial, urban heavy industrial, rural light industrial, and rural heavy industrial zones while discontinuing to allow cannabis production and processing in the rural resource, rural remote and ag zones. So this must be in a,
Wrong zoning.
okay, the regional diversion workshop meeting is canceled for this Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Caitlin?
We'll get that taken off the calendar.
And Kevin, you have an annual employee review on Wednesday. Are you on that review? At 3 o'clock?
Forward to
Oh, whose is it?
zoning.
Okay.
You been on the Hog Warp tour yet?
On a what?
Hog Warp tour? You know,
Morning.
pump stations.
Congratulations on your new job.
Yeah,
Thank you very
you
much.
want to?
I didn't know that, and I was emailing you about a Desert Air.
Tuesday, July 17th.
problem.
I'll forward it to you.
And then when I hit your voicemail, I'm like,
They had planned it a while.
well, I didn't know,
And then the county-
I got your message,
gonna
and then shortly after,
Say
when
that I
I
might
read that,
go.
you have
but-
positions.
I don't know if I'll be able to. Here's his R.
Yeah, KR.
So that's how I found out.
Good tour though.
Writing down a problem.
Yeah, I'd go.
Okay, I missed our public records update yesterday. What is there any big public records in?
Not really.
Oh, it's just I didn't
Yeah,
know if our
it's a
office got
regular.
hit with another fun public records request. Highlighted.
I don't have anything on my calendar except for GT that evening, so I can go.
For an Agua tour? I don't know, what is an Agua?
Yeah,
tour?
you went once. You went once.
It was in,
Just like out where you see all the canals and the pump stations.
yes, I've been
I think you went last year. The three of us all went, I think.
with
last year.
Danny probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
They're just doing another one. And I don't know if I'll be able to go on the date.
If you don't know where our water comes from, it's pretty exciting.
I think
You're like, I know where the water comes
I
from.
think I've already been to a few
Probably
on
good.
my own.
I just think it's crazy when you go to Philly class and then,
Yeah, I haven't really been to the.
well, if you're boating on that, then it's like, this is the same party you're boating on that will be feeding our crops. Kind of crazy to think it.
I have been to Billy Cloud a few times. I haven't been to any of the pump stations.
Pump stations are cool to see.
It's pretty cool.
Massive.
All right, it is 9 a.m. and we are here for a Public Works update. Welcome.
Good morning. First topic, obviously, to introduce our new finance manager, Will Conley. You probably
Hello.
already knew her prior, but her new role, we threw her right in the deep end last week on her first day, and she stayed, so she's toughing it out.
I think Willa gets thrown in a lot of things that either sink or swim. She's always risen to the top.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So our accomplishment update for last week. Our litter control, the new litter crew collected 1.10 tons of garbage, lots of roads they hit, 19 tires. Solid waste itself collected 2,393 tons last week. On the roadside, we do have a couple areas able to grade still in areas 1 and 2, and also rock rake. District 3 is doing standalone pavement, so they're doing pavement patching outside of the seal coat area. Stuff that's needed to be done that we've got the manpower to do right now. Seal coating, we had a total of 17.44 miles of seal coat last week. Seal coat's going well. We're at 2.5 weeks in today, and they're moving right along, still doing 4 loads a day. Bridge crew did some culvert repair install on Sheep Canyon in 23. Some bridge repair from impact at 11 and R Northwest. Some mowing in area District 3 on the slope. also, they put the second shot of oil on that gravel to oil 7.8 northeast. So that is completed other than sweeping that second shot, but that essentially is finished up that gravel to oil project. So, any questions on that?
Looks like everybody's working.
Yeah, it's working well, as we had hoped, fortunately. I still think we're gonna be done. We've got holiday this week and a 4th of July holiday, but I think at worst case scenario, 3rd week of July, we'll be done with seal coat. Everybody likes to take a little more time off on these weeks with the holiday already built in, so it cuts down, but we're still able to get 4 loads a day out. And with having all these extra people that are helping pre-level and blade, even if we have people off, we can probably still cover it and get that done.
Good deal, you guys are really cruising again.
Yeah. This could be the earliest I think we've ever been done in all 3 districts this year in my career here. Usually District 3 and District 2 would start. District 2 always started the week after 4th of July. And District 3 was either about the same time or a week or 2 after, and we're gonna be done about that time, so it's pretty good. Update on West Shore Drive. Manhole sewer covers. Have you guys heard of that situation? According to the county engineer, he told our engineer design that to let the city of Moses Lake know about that they would move them as their responsibility to move them. That obviously didn't happen, and now we've paved, we've concreted and curbed around them. They are planning on starting paving tomorrow. 4 days is the plan. It's doubtful they'll work Saturday, so it sounds like maybe Monday they'll finish the paving. We've been in contact with the Sheriff's Department to make a real presence out there while this is going on to try to curtail some traffic through there and speeding. Any questions on West Shore?
What are they doing about the manhole covers, the sewer covers?
I don't know. Technically, it's fine the way it is, but it looks like crap. So if we move them, that'll be on us. It's not part of the contract. We'll have to pay to have that changed. The city will have to move them on their dime, but the recurbing and sidewalks and everything else would be on our dime.
How's that stuff keep getting done? It's like over and over and over.
I agree. I don't know how it all began with the review or lack of review, I believe. So those things should have been addressed. All of it should have been addressed in the beginning.
I mean, I don't. Yes.
Sewer manholes,
You know,
driveways.
use a stamp as a rubber stamp. It's kind of weird. Like at some point, you probably should have reviewed the document.
I agree 100%.
So what happens, what's the cost if we have to, if they move it later?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't have an estimate for that really. My guess is probably pushing 100,000 with concrete and cutting out, removing. Again, the city is required to move the covers once we make that available. You know, we'd have to cut everything out and then they could move their manhole covers and then we would have to go back in. And I think it's only 2 locations, so maybe that's a little high. I'm just not sure.
Okay, so we only have 2 spots.
That's the way I
2
understand
spots that aren't already
it. Yeah,
hooked out to the road.
yeah. So
I saw that. I was like,
technically it's
it's
right.
fine.
It's okay, but it does not look good at all.
It's just like, why did you did this big, nice project and you get like a 2 out of 10 star rating. You know, it's
Exactly.
like spend millions of dollars and what you get is
Oh, I agree. So I'm sure we'll be addressing that in time on how we want to proceed with it. It can all be done after the paving, so we want to get it paved for sure and move on with that. So, and then as far as the email, I did assign that to Bob Bersani to reach out to the folks. This is my second notice to him to do so. So if it doesn't happen again, we'll be addressing it with reprimand moving forward. It's his project, his to address, and so the first time they emailed, I sent him an email to reach out to them. Obviously, that didn't happen, so I've done it again, and we'll move from there. Something else that Catherine Bryn had brought is, so she works on the SS4A. And sometime in mid-July, she's going to be looking to schedule a workshop with the board to meet with their consultants firm, consultants of firm foundations on this SS4A. And so we'll be addressing that some more with time, but she wanted to bring that to your attention now, is that sometime in mid-July they'll be reaching out to schedule that workshop. Anybody have any questions on the consent items?
My question was for,
Saw you got a nice piece of equipment.
yeah. What'd you get?
The chip box?
It's like $500,000.
Yeah, that's a brand new chip spreader, Bearcat chip spreader.
That's the one that's saving you all this time. And
Yeah, I mean, the three we have, two of them are 2002s and the other one is a 2006. The computers are obsolete, so if one of those computers dies, then it's just a kind of a chunk of metal. And so we've got this new one on a reasonable schedule for replacement. And yeah, it's state of the art, up to date, and should go a long way. So, and we also got our second oiler in. So we have essentially two new oilers in the last 2 years, and now the chip spreader as well. So they're all being used currently for the seal coat. The landfill dust control, that is a requirement by the health department, and it also came under budget by $5,000. So
that's always good.
yeah, and the reimbursable request for the Port of Moses Lake Air Show, they just need the signs. In the years past, we've provided an employee as well. This time, we're just going to provide the signs, and they'll take care of the placing them and removing them. Anything else?
Nothing for
I
me.
don't have any other questions.
Willa, do you have anything?
Welcome to Public Works.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's all we have.
All right,
well, thank you.
then we will take a quick recess and be back at 9:30 for Sheriff's Office update. Good morning, it's 9:30 a.m. and we're here for a weekly of their other week Sheriff's Office update with Sheriff Crete, Coates, and Sainsbury.
Good morning. So I brought in Chief Sainsbury and Chief Coates today to talk about a couple things that are within their divisions. I'd rather you get the good, solid information from them instead of the washed down version for me. I think it's good, important information. I think it should be passed on and shared with the board and the community because couple real positive things, I think, that will be beneficial to the agency. So I'll let Chief Sainsbury start first to talk about the wellness grant we received.
One of our emergency management specialists applied for a wellness grant through WASPIC. And I don't recall the total amount she applied for, but we were granted $55,000, $10,000 for training, $15,000 for exercise equipment. And we have until July next year, and then $30,000 towards First Watch, which is a wellness. First Watch.
First Watch, yeah.
It's a company that helps with mental health with first responders. And a part of that grant for that 1 year is every employee gets 6 visits with a mental health counselor, a provider in person per year. So it's a huge benefit to our agency, and she is very, very passionate about mental health and wellness. So this grant is a good start to going in the right direction. And we've had, as of recent, we've had some people reach out and ask questions and reach out and get help and go to different places throughout the West Coast. And she's a big help with all that.
This was that grant I came and talked to you at the last update that we had. The amount that was out there was about $200,000. We didn't, of course, apply for that entire amount, but we were able to land the amount that Chief Sainsbury said. Remember, I said I had to sign one portion of it, and somebody from the board, just for the application process, had to sign it.
Right.
So we got a real quick return on that. Here we were talking a week and a half. We already got a response that we were awarded a portion of that grant. So just fantastic information and great things to help the agency as far as like things go as the well-being of our employees. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
That'll be huge. So is there an opportunity for some of our smaller cities to?
Everybody in the state had opportunity.
Okay.
I think they had $1.5 million that they were giving out. And so they were divvying it out throughout the state, depending on who applied.
Yeah, when it's all through WASPIC, they send all the grant information out to all the executives and the members of WASPIC and the associate members. So everybody has an opportunity to apply for those grants that are put out there. So yeah. So that was a really good award of a grant. That'll be very, yeah, really well used. So yeah, it was a good one. All right, so go ahead there, Chief. Talk about
All
jail
right.
stuff. Some jail information for you as well.
Yeah, everybody likes to hear the jail news. For the last probably several months, I've been talking to you all about the RFP, Request for Proposal for Medical Services. It's been published now for 2 weeks, anticipated to close shortly after the 1st of July. Just giving everybody an opportunity to let me know that they are interested in the RFP. And again, that this will give us 24/7 medical coverage inside the jail facility. It'll help us increase the standard level of care providing to them. The RFP was about 34, 36 pages in length. So we're trying to capture everything that's going to set us up for success, not only in this jail, but also transitioning and moving up to the new jail where we're going to have a much larger and much sicker population than we do currently. Speaking of medical, we had heart monitors installed in our holding cells. So we have 4 actively going now, 3 holding cells, and in our crisis room, in our padded room, for lack of a better term. We had the training on that Monday, so they're up and going. So now every person who's temporarily being housed inside one of those holding cells, it's measuring their heart rate and their respiratory rate just to get a good baseline on them. And if something was to happen, a crisis was to happen, it's an alerting system for the medical staff and the corrections staff to be able to check on them and act accordingly, whatever's happening. So that was really big. It's kind of new technology using sonar. I mean, who would ever thought there'd been a little box in a corner of a wall to pick up somebody's respiratory rate and their heart rate? So that's a huge advancement for us. Not only were we successful in the mental health awareness grant, we submitted a RFP for the opiate settlement. There's always somebody that comes in last on those proposals, and that was us. I learned that I wasn't a very good grant writer, but it's a great learning opportunity for me. But they gave me an opportunity to interview, which I'm hoping to hear very soon what the outcome of it was. The sheriff's office was requesting a recovery coach to be located inside the jail to really capture that moment of clarity that we have the opportunity of with the people that we have in custody. We're requesting Narcan boxes to be installed inside the living dorm areas inside the jail. And we are requesting to offset the 5%, because I'm looking into getting a canine drug dog inside the jail. So that would kind of help fund that one as well. So again, I'm kind of hoping to hear something soon about the opiate grant. Yeah, we had representatives from WASPIC come in to do a real quick 6-hour assessment of the jail operations and jail standards to see how they are coinciding with jail accreditation standards. The sheriff's office has been accredited since 2010, I believe it was. The jail, we've talked about jail accreditation for the last handful of years, but we're ever really able to move forward on it. Jail accreditation has 173 standards in comparison to patrol has 140 something standards now. And it is much harder to get jails accredited than it is sheriff's office or police departments accredited. So good news from WASPIC is they think we're there. They think that we have the ability to be accredited with what they saw that day. They went over the operational standards, the administrative standards, which is our use of force reporting, our evaluations, officer rounds. We went into some of the medical policies and what our practices are, our classification process, our grievance process. I mean, they spend a good 6 hours really going in and dissecting it. They gave us a lot of really good feedback on some corrections that we can make to be successful. But we have a pretty good roadmap set ahead of us to be accredited. We're not going to move for accreditation until we move into the new facility, just because that accreditation would not follow us up there. We'd have to do a recred anyway. So we're still trying to get into the right mindset of accreditation and make sure that our policies meet our practice and our practice matches our policies. So it was a great day, a lot of really good information, but it was refreshing hearing that the jail's operating in a positive direction. Again, there's going to be more improvement needs to be made, but you know, that's why we call them in to put us underneath the microscope to perform better. So, and that's all I have about the jail, unless y'all have any questions.
Park monitors.
Everyone,
Oh, good. Any more questions about the jail stuff?
No, it's moving, looks good, it's huge.
Yeah, and that kind of rolls into what my next topic conversation is about. We graduated 2 more corrections deputies last week from the academy, which is fantastic news. We're still getting great recruits. In fact, I think we have now 2 more lateral applicants that came in for corrections, which is great. Gosh, for the longest time, we just didn't get laterals for corrections. We just didn't get them. We've actually got quite a few lateral applicants now for corrections, which has been great. That puts us now down to only being short 3 on the corrections side, which is great. We do have some conditional offers out there still that we're going through backgrounds and things like that. So there is the chance we may lose people with backgrounds, but as of right now, we have 3 vacancies to fill for conditional offers and corrections. That's a pretty good move considering we had 14 openings when I was elected. So we're doing a really good job on recruitment, and thank goodness we're still getting really good candidates. because I'm not willing to change our standard for hiring. We have a very high standard. We're still getting candidates that meet those standards, and in fact, Josh and I were just talking about it this morning of how many great people that we've hired in this agency, and we're very lucky and quite frankly, I don't use the word deserve very often, but our community deserves that. That's the kind of people they deserve to have working in the county. So we're pretty proud of the standard that we have for hiring, and we're really happy that people are meeting that standard, and we're getting great candidates. So being only 3 people down is great news for us. So we're moving in the right direction. And like I said, if we're getting laterals, that just speeds up that process for us as far as getting into the FTO process and not having to send them through the academy for 10 weeks for corrections. So that's great news, getting ready to go into the new facility. So Chief for a Day, thank you all for being part of the Chief for a Day celebration we had last week. That's always great. I mean, thank goodness the weather cooperated and it wasn't 1,000,000 degrees outside, thank goodness. But just such a great event for those kids, and I just love that time of year every year, and seeing the smile on those kids' faces and giving them an opportunity they don't get all the time, and it was just great. I'm always happy to do it, and Chief Coast did a great job, along with the rest of the team, quite frankly, getting it organized and making it go off without a hitch at all. So
turned out really good.
Such a great event, really was. And we did some things different this year. We did all the gatherings outside instead of getting everybody up into the multi-purpose room or emergency operations center. It starts getting pretty packed in there, and then with court going on, it can get a little loud in the multi-purpose room. So we changed things up and did it outside. The weather cooperated, and it was great being able to do it outside. It was really fantastic. Just a great day. Just maybe a quick update on 365 Labs and what we're looking at with the CAD software with Mac right now. TS has been working with Mac and our office to try to get a laptop to Mac. It sounds like that's probably going to happen today, to try to get a test product to Mac to simulate the exact environment that our deputies are working in out on patrol. Because as of right now, we're still having issues with the stability of the software to where it still locks up. It still freezes quite often, 2 to 3 times a day. We're trying to just get that identified of what is actually causing that. TS has been a good help. Of course, they're a lot smarter when it comes to the technology side than I am, that's for sure. So I've really leaned on Joe Carter, has been a huge asset for me, trying to understand the system and some of the obstacles that we may have as far as operations being just in the county being rural. I mean, we can't control that we operate on the whim of the speed of cellular networks. That's how it is for us. We don't have the luxury of having, the connection that they may possibly have in the cities. We just don't have that luxury. We're out covering calls in, Marlin, Wilson Creek, Desert Air. I mean, the signals just aren't as great as we're traveling from one spot to the other. But what we can't afford to have happen is have a system that's just not stable for us to operate in it. So we're trying to do some more testing to try to find what that issue is and try to get it narrowed down to see if we can make it successful. That is the goal, to make it successful as long as it does work. So we're trying to be a good partner with Mac and 365 Labs and do what we can to try to find solutions to that. So that's kind of where we are on the project there. And that's really about all we have. Of course, I always like to give about 15 minutes to the board for any questions or any updates they have for me as well. So
this contract we have on our agenda, will it change at all when you guys increase the amount of inmates?
So you're talking about the electronic medical records?
Core EMR.
Yeah.
LC,
Yep. So right now what they'll do is whenever we get the contract signed, they'll ask what our daily average population is. And right now it's going to be roughly 120. But every year we have to give them a new ADP. So as soon as we move into the new facility and we start expanding, yes, that's going to go up pretty significantly.
Okay. And then doesn't affect this contract at all, the 3-year contract?
No.
Okay.
And that again is being paid out of the Healthcare Authority 1110 waiver. So that's coming out of a grant.
I thought maybe they'd give us a better break if we have more inmates.
I think it's $2 an inmate now, if I remember right. And yeah, if it probably will get us a little bit of a break, but it's still going to be a substantial cost. One good thing about electronic medical records is, we can work a little bit more collaboratively with like Samaritan or CBH and just electronically start sharing some of the records, which is beneficial to both parties. And I will not be there for that meeting. I apologize. So if you have any more questions about it, please let me know and be happy to answer them.
All right, anything else? Okay,
Oh, that's it.
there we go.
You got 14 minutes back.
Attorney Shalene will think of something, but
That's all right.
As always.
look at my notes, I think you're good.
All right, well, if there are no more questions for the sheriff's office, we will go into recess until 10, and our human resources update was canceled today, so we will go into recess until 11 a.m. when we are back for WCRG update. Good afternoon, it is 11 a.m. and we are here for our Washington County's Risk Group Insurance Update with County Risk Manager Blair Cope and Group Representative for us, Shane Heston.
Well, good morning.
How you guys doing?
Good, thank you. And first off, I'd just like to say that this report that I'm handing you is our current year, and we're trending extremely well in terms of number of claims. Frequency of claims, which is number of claims, is really low. We're more than halfway through the policy year, and we're about 35% of normal. So that's, of our average claim count. So I'd like to just kind of draw your eyes to that for a moment and have you look that over. There's really nothing that I saw in here that I would say, hey, be concerned with. They're just looks like they're kind of going through the process. There's going to be a couple of them closed on here without payment. There's going to be one closed with payment.
Whatever happened with the fairgrounds? They didn't have insurance. Were we able to?
So with that one right there, they just sent a second letter out. I talked about that 2 weeks ago. However, you weren't here. WCRG sent a letter out saying, hey, please respond. If you don't respond, they will be sending a notice to
I was here.
for the Department of License, and then they will pull the license of both the owner of the vehicle and the driver.
Which was the son. Okay.
Yeah.
We knew on that. All right.
Yeah, mother and son will lose their license.
Number 8 on the list, which is 1703, that's that snowplow incident that occurred up here up on Sagebrush Flats. That one's likely to be recovered in, subrogation as well.
Yeah, they have payment plans set up, but it's going to take years to pay it back. But we got a payment plan set up.
Yeah, so county risk will get paid back over
Yep.
a period of time. That's a case of not having a license, so there'll be an SR 22 suspension. I assume filed.
Oh, they obviously didn't have insurance either.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, so they'll have to pay the financial
So much per month.
high risk insurance after going forward. So that's what we have for the current policy year. The next one is all open claims, and this list has shrunk quite a bit from the last meeting we had. There's only 6 of them on here now.
Thank you, Blair.
Actually, a little bit of feel like claims. So this list is actually a little inconclusive. There's some missing information, like the EPLI, the employment practice liability claims aren't on there, but they'll be on this one, the next one we hand out to you.
I don't know why those are on there.
Yeah, this report looks like it missed missed a 21 through current. So we'll have to kind of re-pull that one. So maybe just scan through that, see if you have any questions. It does have our couple of the claims we've been watching, like the Carla Gray claim and then the Ross claim on there as well.
I don't know why.
This is a policy year for 21 or 2021. This is one we've been watching because, we're running close to the limit of insurance with, the pending open claims on there. This hasn't changed any from the last report on there. And I really don't have any major things to report on this one other than, we're keeping a mindful eye on the total insured dollar spent on there because, our $15 million limit's coming up.
The 1322 has been gone through court and they have that taken care of, so.
22.
The 22, the dog bite.
Oh, okay.
So.
That one did, what
Yeah.
do we resolve that at? That's the Gray claim.
That's a great claim. I don't remember the total percentage that they held us liable before, but what we offered for settlement is basically what we were hit with for
Okay.
percentage.
Is
So,
that what, is that the amount right here, the 1.8?
no, I think that's with lawyer fees. It probably could be right about right. So I think it was like 1.2. I can't remember. I have it upstairs, but that's what they were offering. So she may try to challenge it. So we're not sure, but we'll see what happens.
Go through the appeal. So we'll be probably tracking that for months to follow.
Oh, we are appealing that, aren't we?
I don't know if we are. She may.
Okay.
No, I think we were pretty
Did you
happy
make
with
her an
that.
offer back at what she?
We offered that beforehand at what it was, the courts said, from what I was told from the insurance company. From Kamau.
So based on that, we're real close to getting the excess liability quote, 10x of 10 million excess of 15 million. So we'll have a total of 25. We should have that here probably. I'm thinking in the next couple of weeks. It's quite a process to go through the underwriting and questionnaires. I just had another call last week. And, it's funny how these big insurers, they just see a county agency. They think we do public transit. They think we do utilities and, hospitals and everything. And once we explain that those are all separate exposures, not related to the county, then things kind of start trending favorably our way. So we should actually get a couple of quotes to present you, and I'll bring you the best one. That will give us just that cushion going forward of extra insurance. Again, I don't like the situation the feeling of, hey, we could be running out of insurance or even having that conversation. So I like to have that little buffer in there, and this will definitely give us that. And for the value of the premium dollars, I think it's going to be a pretty equitable situation for us to consider. So other than that, we're going to be starting renewal here before too long, and I'm going to be scheduling some time with Blair. We're going to go out and we're going to look at some buildings and just examine a couple of things, see if we can, sharpen the pencil on any values to make sure that we're not, under, over insuring on that. I don't really have an indication on where we're trending for, renewal rates. The indications are, hey, there's going to be a bump, but it doesn't look as bad as it in past years. I mean, definitely not like it was 2 years ago.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. However, the state continues to be a difficult place to do business and buy reinsurance for, which that's no news to us. We've talked about this for months. Blair, I don't have much else to report other than that. Our safety committee meeting's going real well. We do, those monthly, and we're getting a lot of participation, I feel. The newsletters are going out, and there's actually a lot of participation. The new online accident reporting process and claims reporting process is working. We're not gonna, the process that Blair has set up is not likely to miss the notification of any sort of claim, which is a really important thing for us to follow. We don't ever want to sit on a claim and not realize we have one. We can get whacked with a summary of not responding on something like that.
The near misses are also included on that, right, online?
Yes.
Yeah, we're tracking those, and we hope, if you noticed on the sheets now, we have the accident locations. We're starting to kind of define more data, and as we get more data entry points and more details, it should help us on the trending and the correlation of time of day, location, department, weather conditions, contributing factors. And those things are all very helpful for us to, forecast and maybe do some predictability and maybe some prevention. Of course, the summer months are just starting, so there's lots of activity out there in the right-of-ways and the county lands. So, I mean, anything could happen at this point, but so far I think we're doing really well in terms of claims and, being responsible members of the risk pool. I mean, Grant County is the leader of the risk pool without any exception, and you guys are doing a good job with that.
Well, I think Blair's really helped us.
Blair's helped a lot, and I think that was a great investment in the county's part to do that, and I think the risk pool agrees with that, Cindy, and
I think they're very happy.
they were not happy losing.
We were gonna get booted out or.
Losing Blair, but at the same time, it's going to one of our, our biggest county out there. Yeah, I know that's a big deal. So I know a few other counties are looking at this pool to maybe consider joining, and I don't know what the development of that is at this point, but it is a nice stable pool that really doesn't have the exposures of like the large pools, like the Skagits and the Snohomishes and the Watkins and stuff, Spokane. Questions, concerns?
No, Blair's been keeping us pretty updated on things, so.
Yeah, he meets every month, and that's probably when I'll come in with that quote, just kind of piggyback on Blair's presentation that day, just give you a few minutes to consider, so.
Thank you both.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go into recess until 11:30 when we're back for coroner's office update. They do plan to be a few minutes late, so we'll be coming online a couple minutes after 11:30.
Yep, ready when you are.
Good morning, it's 11:30 a.m. and we are here for coroner's office update with Coroner Craig Morrison and Jerry Jasmine.
I kept the one's phone number.
No, that's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Is it Jasmine or Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Jasmine? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good morning to you.
for joining us.
Such short notice.
Yeah, you bet.
I was telling Craig earlier that I talked to, I think during our hospital tour, about the availability of the coroner's office staying longer than after the hospital left, and that everybody left the hospital, vacated it. Where I was told, yes, we will work with you, not a problem, and then we find out that, oh, it is a problem, so I was just apologizing. Let her know that I really did have that conversation, it wasn't just something I thought of.
And I believe Rob and I have a meeting tomorrow morning with Samaritan, so we'll probably follow up on that, find out what's going on, so.
So what was our bill that we do owe Samaritan? We were all guessing like 200,000, 300,000, 400,000.
360 some odd $1,000.
Okay.
Off by 100.
366.
Sounds like it's like 4 or 5, okay. So maybe if we pay that, we need to work on that, because some of the stuff I feel like is not all Grant County. We could possibly
Well,
stay longer, we'll see. We'll see.
regardless if we can stay longer or not, we certainly weren't treated fairly by Samaritan on that billing and the deliverables that we were supposed to receive. So that, we need to have that conversation with Samaritan. And that needs to be part of this. It was not kosher.
Yeah, and it smelled like a skunk from early on with a lot of things that was going on there. So Anyway, this paper that I gave you is mainly just some statistics for your information of where we are in our office. We're about a month and a half ahead of schedule for the year, I guess if you can put it that way, with the investigations that we do. It's been a busy first half. But of course, these numbers and things, they really aren't my concerns right now. And I think the biggest concern in our office is where are we headed, what kind of a time frame, and what are we going to do? So as we sit around and think of ideas, if in fact March 6th, is that what it was that the letter said, sayonara, get out whatever you want to get out, and doors are being locked and all of that. And then in anticipation from our conversation, it's probably going to be February before you can break ground. Is that what I remember you saying? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, it's okay. It was interesting, a timeline. So the RFQ is out right now to select a general contractor.
Okay.
The RFQ timeline, because we have to, as we publish a request for qualifications to hire a general contractor, we have to give them some kind of a timeline in that document so they know what to expect. And the owner representative for us that did that paperwork had a start date of June of 2026. And I asked him to amend that. I said, just amend it to as soon as possible, because there's no way, and in my discussions with the architect, we don't believe it's going to take that long. There's some bureaucratic steps you have to take that, to develop a piece of property. But in this case, some of those have already been taken. There's already a SEPA, which takes, weeks and weeks to complete, has already been completed on this. So that's part of the timeline that is saved. We're already working on the design. And I think and we've already got people sort of mobilized in the area. So I think we're going to be able to move very quickly. But we don't have a way to dial in that exact timeline. We just the architect and myself both believe that June is like way out there.
Yeah.
So.
And you just felt like February was more of a realistic.
More realistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
some of that will be dependent on weather.
Right.
We have another winter like we had last year. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. So with those dates and timelines in mind, we leave the hospital in March, and now we need a place to go from March until
whenever. Until if it's a 8-month build, an 11-month build, some of that's going to depend on the size of the building. That we still have to go through a programmatic phase with you,
right,
and Jerry about exactly what needs to be built. And then some of that is going to dictate how long it doesn't take as long to build a 5,000 square foot building as a 50,000 square foot.
Right.
So,
But realistically, you're thinking possibly a year from this time you start. So that gives us a year of now what do we do, right?
Yeah.
So when this came up last year, kind of let's have a plan B if whatever this overlap is. I've talked to other coroners and medical examiners' offices where we can transport decedents to their facility for autopsies. We could make that work for a month or two, kind of shifting things around, but they're not interested in helping us for a year.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, what do we do? And we talk about this. We get in the office and kind of throw some things out. Where can we go? What can we make do for a year? And one of the thoughts was the work source building. Is it possible to retro the work source building? What's that?
The work release.
Or work release, excuse me. Where nobody is in that right now. Could we build a 1-year temporary morgue there? And these are just thoughts. This is just stuff that's coming up.
As I think about that, right, I think about the logistics of it. I think we'd have to be very quiet about that. I think it'd be very difficult. It's already difficult to sell the building. It's going to be more difficult if they know the kitchen was holding.
Gotcha. Okay.
Autopsies, right? So
Well, and I don't know.
It's ridiculous to have to say that because it's the stigmatism.
Sure.
Sure. So, but the other thing is how do we do that? I don't have my head wrapped around fully what you need for like a cooler or a freezer. I reached out to a company called BlueMed. So I asked our emergency management department. I said, hey, there might be an opportunity for some training here. Is there a way you could stand up a temporary morgue? And they didn't think that it was possible to help us out in any way. I found a company called BlueMed, and they stood up during COVID. They stood up temporary morgues and autopsy suites in these tents, and they're conditioned spaces, and they're meant to be there for a long time. I still have to have a meeting with them. It looks to me like what they have would work, and we could put it on the site, because we already have power there.
Okay.
So we could actually set that up on site, and you could continue to work at your offices at Ivy Street.
Right, that wouldn't be a big deal.
And then go and do what you need to do in the tent. But we need to have a meeting with them to find out exactly what they can and can't do. I showed this, I sent all of the information to our architect, Will. He knows who the company is. Didn't think that they could do what we need them to do. So again, we need to get it together and discuss exactly what you need. So,
both of us have been in temporary morgues in disaster type situations where we assist other counties and things like that. And they are pretty temporary. They bring in water, they bring in.
Well, and the work release.
They have refrigerated trailers and like mobile morgues.
Yeah, the work release is by far our cheapest option if we can do that. We just need to understand exactly what you need for that to operate in that manner so we can figure out how to make that work. And I don't have an issue with that at all. That's our cheapest option.
Yeah, and I'd be glad to take you up to our existing morgue and say, okay, this is the space we're working out of. The cooler space that we have now holds 7 bodies, and it's, as time goes on, it's, even if we weren't being kind of forced to leave, we would have to do something because it's just becoming tight
And
quarters.
is that a freezer or just a cooler?
Cooler, yeah. Yeah, it's kept at between 34 and 38 degrees.
I don't know from a building code perspective if we get in trouble for doing that. We have a big cooler up at work release. I don't know if it's big enough for 7 bodies.
Yeah.
And my concern there is once we used it for that, or if we could use it for that.
What does that do for the resale?
No, it's not even so much what we do for the sale. Would the city freak out, or anybody else from a zoning standpoint or a conditional use standpoint, I guess.
That'd be the only part.
Yeah.
Temporary use.
And it's temporary, right?
Getting a new coolers, 15, 20 grand.
Yeah.
Don't really worry about that.
Well, I think you just have to go in there and sanitize it, right? So,
Yeah, I don't know.
I know, there's that stigmatism, right?
Well,
So.
when they have a cooler, they can put it in a room,
It's not the stigmatism, it's the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get running from tan.
So that's why in mass casualties, we're always supposed to have the semi truck that's cooler covered up so they can't see it like a Walmart cooler truck.
Well, and that might be the
that.
best way is to just get a mobile cooler, right? And,
Well, they have the mobile morgue.
yeah, so, and if, one of the things we should do is, as we investigate this, figure it out, is get you guys up to work release and say, okay, how would this work? And get your, after you, have you ever been in work release?
I've never been there. It was just brought up by one of our employees that says, and he lives here in Efraid, he says, I'm pretty sure that building is empty. What? And it doesn't have to be that. Does the county have any buildings that are empty that we can
Not really.
use?
That's our only
Yeah.
empty building that I'm aware
Okay.
of, so.
And is that currently on the market to be sold? So it's really kind
The
of tough
city
to
of
sell.
Detroit is looking at it. We don't, but I think they're realizing that they're biting off more than they can chew for what they want.
Yeah, we
But it
drove
might be an
past it,
option
looks
that
big.
would work.
But that's definitely an option. And we need to follow up with a meeting with you and the architect and talk about BlueMed or talk about a temporary cooler. And our architect's just wild enough. He's probably got somebody on speed dial that's already got one, so.
Yeah, and I'm open to, I'm
he seems
just,
to know everybody.
at this point, just a little nervous as to what's gonna happen, because it's, as you know, everything kind of trickles from these decisions. If for that year, let's just say that year period of time, we're taking bodies to other counties to do autopsies, that means our pathologist that comes over here is gonna be out of work. And if we lose him for that year, we're not gonna get him back.
Where else does he go though? He doesn't just come here.
No, but primarily he does. I mean, we've got, what did we say this year?
Is there a smaller county? I know
We've done-
Adams County.
We've done 27 autopsies so far this year for other counties that come here and use that pathologist. So if we go into that spot, what does that do to those other counties?
Well, so, and this is what seems strange for me, and this is gonna sound crass.
That's all right.
And I don't mean it to, but, so, we're worried about a pathologist, not necessarily because of us, but because of other counties. How important is it as we go through the programmatic design for what you need to be thinking about those other counties? Are they ever gonna build a morgue, or are we it?
No, they will never build a morgue.
So we are building a regional morgue.
We
I
are,
mean, for
yeah.
lack of it.
Yeah,
So-
we've been a regional morgue for many years, because it's the smaller counties. It's Lincoln County, Adams County, Kittitas County.
Well, I think it's really important in our messaging that is known by the public, not because it's a bad thing, but
Yeah.
because it's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
important.
really, where would they go if it wasn't for us? And they'd be in the same boat to speak
And
of.
I'm gonna get off track just a little
That's
bit,
all
but
right.
I have another question for you. So when I look at this piece of paper, so you've got homicide, suicide, accident, natural, pending. Grant County, this is 200, so in 2024, you had 223 deaths. You're up to 44 so far in 2025.
No, that's just autopsy.
Or that's just autopsy. Well, I guess my question is, okay, so,
What do we do in that room other than
no, I'm
autopsies?
sorry. So Grant County, agency assist autopsies, as of June 2025, you've done 27 full autopsies. How many of those autopsies could have been completed with like the full body x-ray and the CT scanner, where you wouldn't have had to?
I mean, that's a legitimate question. Most of these that are being brought to our county need autopsied. They're there because there's probably some litigation that could go. You've got a prosecutor that you've got to keep in mind, homicides. If they're going to prosecute a vehicular homicide, it needs to be autopsied. Even though you could run through a CT and say, okay, that would work if it wasn't for that part of it. So of the ones they're bringing us, the percentage is higher that need autopsies than maybe even the ones we're doing.
And are we gonna need the viewing room built like the one in Cowlitz County? So that you can have your prosecutor, Washington State Patrol,
Yeah, I mean,
investigating officers, whoever sitting there watching?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna need to be that big, but yeah,
Alright.
something. We've got to have a place that they can view, and then a place where they can retrieve all of the evidence.
So for me, I guess my priority is number one, making sure we know how you're gonna operate over the next year.
Right.
I think we'll know a lot more after tomorrow, after we have a discussion with Teresa.
Okay.
I know we're gonna discuss the billing, but we're obviously gonna discuss the availability of the space as well.
Okay.
And I believe Joe Kunkel will be at that meeting. And then after that, then we can really kind of dial in a plan for what we need to do, but I need to make sure that I can schedule you frequently for meetings with the architect, at least at the beginning,
Absolutely.
so that we can get through a lot of the discussion and then let us take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, you're probably going to learn quite a bit tomorrow. But that's kind of my worry is what do we do and where do we go? And obviously it's going to be a temporary thing, and we're going to have a lot of patience getting into the new facility. But I don't know what to do.
And after the accreditation that you went through,
They
were saying that you had to hire more staff.
Well, I'm looking, if you had 223, if these numbers are correct, in 2024, and you're not even halfway through the year and you're at 251 deaths,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
So, again, I've
Yeah,
asked
those
this multiple
numbers.
times, how many hours a week is your team working?
Yeah, I mean,
Those weren't total 223, that was at the same time.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean, as far as hours and our people, so
Okay,
3 months,
sorry, thanks for
3
that.
months ago, we hired a new employee.
okay.
He's in his trainings right now. And I would say in the next 3 to 6 months, he's gonna be up to speed and things will get better.
So how many total employees does that make then?
5 total.
And after you went through your accreditation process, didn't they say you had to hire 2, or you should? That was a recommendation, or?
Well, the recommendation is that you should have an investigator per 100 deaths investigated. So if we've got 500 deaths in the year, which is about what we have, we should have 5 investigators do that outside of what the coroner does administratively. But I'm okay with that. The 5 that we have, including me, is we can go with it. We're fine. Yeah, it was a recommendation, but
Well, I want to make sure, as I'm thinking about the programming, that we're building the facility that,
Right.
you know.
yeah, you don't want to build it for just what we have now, but what?
Yeah, I don't want to overbuild it either.
Right.
But at the same time, it, you know, if you look at the legislative, Kevin McCrae just sent out an email regarding legislation and caseloads for prosecutors and public defenders, and then hopefully they don't start doing games like that with coroners.
Yeah,
You need 20 of you,
right.
so.
No, that's kind of the standards, and we don't quite meet that standard, but we're fine.
How many vehicles do you have total?
4 right now.
I was working out with 4 and not 5.
Yeah, well, we're scheduled to get 1 next month
Okay.
for a total of 5, but yeah. I mean, honestly, having the vehicle is like having a half of an employee.
Well, because I think Jerry, when he was back in the day, it was like a 50%. It was
Well,
2 employees, 1 vehicle,
Yeah.
3 employees, 1 vehicle.
yeah, and when he and I did it by ourselves, we were sharing in a vehicle. And then when we each got a vehicle, it was like having a new employee. I mean, just the time that it takes to move things around, and yeah, we appreciated it. Really
Okay,
did.
so you've got a 5th one coming then.
Yeah. So, moving forward, what do you want of me, Tom? Do we want to go look at that work, that work
Well,
release?
should we wait and see what tomorrow?
wanna
Well,
see.
yeah, I mean, let's find out what happens tomorrow, and then we'll go
If we
from there.
could
But,
even rent just a portion of that building.
well, I think if we did use work release, I think it would be important to, you know, probably bring in a portable cooler or something like that we can plug in outside or something. I don't know. You know, so.
You know, as far as a cooler goes, and I've seen several situations in temporary and even in funeral homes, and they're putting up insulated walls and a refrigeration unit in it to keep it and then they tear it down.
That's what Blue Med does,
Yeah.
except it's a tent that's big enough to have an office in it too, and you can do
use a
1 or 2 autopsy
refrigerated
bays. I'm sorry.
storage container?
Yeah, but we live in the county where we have a lot of fruit, and turning a room into a refrigerated room is pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
Well, it's pretty old technology. It's well adapted, and I mean, 20 years ago, I was building nitrogen generators in those shipping containers, controlled atmosphere systems. So,
Well, we will work with you on this.
Okay.
Especially me, I feel horrible.
Yeah, well, ultimately, it would be nice just to stay where we're at. I mean, even if the hospital leaves, there's just little things that we've got to worry about. One is X-ray. What do we do about X-rays?
Are they leaving
but-
some of their equipment?
I don't think so.
no, they're taking
I think
everything.
they're leaving.
But what about, so, well,
biohazard,
what
sharps.
about, so
laundry.
they have the room, right? So, well, I guess it'll depend on the conversation tomorrow. Excuse me, because if we can stay there, but they're taking out their equipment.
But we
buy
have,
your-
we know we have to buy equipment anyway.
We can buy your x-ray machine now and just move it.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah, that might.
You know, I don't think you guys remember, but back then when we built that morgue, we paid for the bricks in that building.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now, the cooler, they built the cooler portion, we supplied the equipment in the cooler. But we paid for bricks, and then, of course, the room where the biohazard room is, they paid for that portion, but we paid for that section. Again, it's gonna be an argument between, you know.
That's many years down the road, that's not
Exactly.
gonna have.
But I'm just letting you guys
We
know
need our
that,
bricks
you know,
back.
History.
yeah, and all the stuff inside
They
there,
tell
of
us,
course, we
they tell us
paid.
to go and get those bricks.
Exactly,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
No, that's important though. I mean, they're partners.
If those squatters
When
have
was it
rights.
built?
I don't know.
And it was, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it was
no,
an
I'm not
agreement.
downplaying,
Yeah, that's,
so,
I mean, I'm
Well-
sure she doesn't know that.
probably not.
And it was a handshake type of thing back then too. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it is now when we were
Oh, we're
trying.
still doing lots of handshakes.
But it's been a good working relationship, and that's the
Yeah.
thing that drives me crazy is that it's, you know, it's not the people that we work with as our issues right now. It's the,
Well, and that's in the meeting tomorrow, that's my concern is there's no way that either side of this comes out whole.
right, right,
So salvaging the relationship is really important,
right.
you know, but understanding that, you know, we kind of got wrong.
Yeah,
And,
We did.
just need to acknowledge that.
yeah, we did. Well, that's all my worries. Well,
It's easy.
it's most
For
of my
today,
worries
for
for
this
today,
hour.
yeah, for right now.
Well, we will work with you on that.
So have you made notification to the counties that we do this work for, that this is coming?
I hesitate, just because I would rather have a semi-accurate timeline to give them and say, okay, between these months, we're gonna have some
We
problems.
will come
running
see
some-
you.
Yeah, right, yeah. And I've spoken with Benton County, Spokane County, Thurston County, and Snohomish, and King. And all of them are willing to help us out. But, you know,
A year is a little excessive.
yeah, it's, it would be the difficult part is they'll help us out with the autopsied cases that need autopsied. But the other 300 that we bring in and we do the externals ourselves, we draw the blood, we send it off to toxicology, without a pathologist coming over for the autopsy. What do we do about those situations? So, yeah.
Nothing else? All right,
Well, that was plenty.
thanks for coming over.
Thank you.
We will go into recess until 1 PM when we are back with Superior Court update.
Oh, good.
Good afternoon, it is 1 PM and we are here for Superior Court update with Crystal Burns.
Hello. So we are doing our usual. We actually haven't had very many trials right now, which has been kind of nice. We've had an opportunity to catch up on some of our admin type things and whatnot. It's also WAPA week, so we never have a trial when the prosecutors are gone to WAPA. So other than that, we're working with the clerk's office to hopefully go paperless soon. I'm sure you've been updated on that. Oh, maybe not.
Not
The-
lately.
So the plan is hopefully to go paperless by January. So right now we're having, Judge Hill is kind of the guinea pig judge that we're using where he's not having files in the courtroom. And so that's actually been going pretty well. And so we're hopeful that it shouldn't be too much of a transition once the clerk's office officially goes paperless. Still a lot of things to figure out with orders and whatnot that are going to be handed up and how we're going to deal with that, but let's take it a day at a time.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really all.
You have some trials coming up though.
Well, we always have trials
But you have some pretty big
scheduled.
ones coming up.
Yeah.
don't you? What
Yeah.
happened with the one last week?
So the one last week, we were doing jury selection, and then he was
It
going to
was
take a
pretty
plea
wild.
deal. And then the attorney, during the lunch break, the defense attorney, got in a car accident just right out here. I'm sure you all heard about. Oh, no. And so, yeah, so we ended up having to call a mistrial on that case. Didn't even get the jury selected. So it was a little bit of a fiasco. But thankfully, he's okay. So, yeah, he's an out-of-town attorney from Spokane. So, yeah, and that was one of our bigger trials. That was a big one. So we need to start trying our bigger cases. I have quite a few pending. The court is always ready. Mhm. That's all I can say.
All right. And your judges are, I didn't know, but I guess they rotate in what they're doing.
Yes, so we do a 4-month rotation. So right now, Judge Hill's criminal presiding, which obviously that's pretty self-explanatory. He handles all of the dockets, suppression hearings, trials, whatnot, that's criminal. And then Judge Gelati is juvenile presiding right now. So that comes along with juvenile, as she also presides over our domestic violence docket, our dependency trials, our juvenile docket, juvenile trials. And then Judge Clarkson is civil presiding. So she does all of our civil trials and dockets, and civil is so widespread. So a lot of things fall under civil. So they do each one 4 months a year. They like it because it gets them to do something different. When they get burnt out with one, they get to move on to another. So, yeah.
Do you have anything you need from us?
Couple days off.
Always.
Friday.
Yes. I mean, that's just an obvious one. No, not that I can think of.
Any questions, Kevin?
Not having it right now.
Me either.
Okay.
All good?
All is good.
All right, we will go into recess now until 1:15.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is 1:15 p.m. and we are here with a district court update with Judge Gwynn and Desiree Ochocinski.
I'm attempting to move, Commissioner Carter just got
And Cindy's online.
Okay. We want to start off by thanking the county for cleaning the windows on the building.
Shout out to maintenance for cleaning
Absolutely.
the windows.
Looks really good. So, was it last year?
Used to have 5 inches of spider web dust.
Yes, it looks really good.
Very nice.
So, Judge Barlow, I know, complained about it and wanted his cleaned, and then we went to, where did we go? The feed, the barbecue, the employee barbecue, and they started that day. Do you remember? They were starting to clean the day of the employee barbecue. It's like, maybe not a good day to do that. But since then, they've really noticed a difference. So it was really good.
Awesome.
So, wanted to say shout out to them. I know they're not here. But I thought Tom might be here today because it was a rumor he might be, but. I think Desiree saved the security grant, but there's still issues going on kind of a little bit with it. But we have a new person we're working with. Hopefully that'll be better. She missed the first meeting with us. She was late to it. And so.
Rocky start, but we got there, and she told us that she's planning to schedule regular meetings to try to get the grant moved forward to where it needs to be. I know Tom had some concerns about the requirements of the grant, so I told him he was welcome to come today and discuss those if he wants to, but he can discuss those with you at a later time because he's not here. Another side security note that I forgot to put on there. When we gave juvenile that break room in Mose Lake, they were given access to employee-only areas. So I'm gonna be working with maintenance on like backtracking that, because the understanding was that they would only
What
be given.
areas?
So they go right in where the employees do, where judges' chambers right there and the clerks and courtrooms right here.
Is that in the front of the building?
On
So
the
the
district court
hallway.
side. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And there are, even with the construction, there are other ways around. I think WSU is going like around the back of the building into their entrance, which juvenile could do and enter.
They don't go through the front at WSU Extension?
Not right now because of the parking lot issue.
Uh,
Are you aware of the parking lot issue?
Yeah.
Might
Okay.
take a while.
Yeah. So, but I don't know what exactly, how or why or what changed, but my understanding was that it would only be public areas, and now it's places that only judicial and court staff should have access to, which is a concern for our staff and judges and confidentiality of the files.
You're gonna have to show me what you're talking
Yeah.
about, because I've been there a lot,
Yeah.
and
There, I think what she's saying, there's a side door.
Mm-hmm.
that they're using currently.
Yeah, they should not be using that door.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe we just meet over there and
They
kind of
probably
walk
don't
through
know.
it maybe is easiest. I don't really know, but
Did it just
definitely
start-
we need to limit that access.
Did it just start when they did the pavement?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So they probably just need to be told.
And you told what door to go through.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. Anybody
Well,
tell
they
them
should-
what door to
Well,
go
and
through?
that there should
they
be no
shouldn't have
access
access
to
to
that door. And I had talked to Kevin and I thought we were on the same page, and maybe it was my misunderstanding. I don't really know. But I thought that they were only going through the public areas. But that, I got a phone call this morning that is not the case. And I verified with the video that is not the case. So I'll be asking to kind of course correct that and keep those areas secure.
She still hasn't weighed in there. She just goes through the
Yeah.
main door. All she has to do is go to the main door.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all hell no.
Yeah. If she goes, yeah, but technically she shouldn't have access to the other door, like. So. I say she, I'm not even sure.
Have
it's
you
a she.
talked to anyone at youth services?
I haven't, no, we haven't, but we can do that too. But I think the key thing is the access.
Yeah,
Even having the
access
access is the
something Kevin
potential
needs to
issue.
take care of.
So it was brought up by one of our judges, not particular me, so I want to make sure it gets addressed as soon as possible. So it is a little bit of a shocker when someone not authorized goes through there, or not let in at least, because there's no really, we don't let anybody in.
Right.
So-
And I think this morning too, it just came up because we had, for whatever reason, I think 2 maintenance guys were over there, maybe with a contractor. They were in and out a couple of times. And I think the Fikes guy maybe was over there, and then the juvenile people. And so judge is like, what is all this noise? And like, there's normally nobody, what's going on? And then the clerk had commented, oh yeah, they were given access apparently a couple of weeks ago. They've been coming through.
Which
So-
clerks have the happy ones?
All my clerks are happy.
There's one that's not so happy, but I was just curious.
Well, she's in Moses Lake.
Mhm.
She's the in-court
Sorry,
clerk over
Matt.
there, Sydney. She's
I
super
don't know her
nice.
name.
So maybe she's not happy with you.
Maybe I was.
Maybe.
Because I used one of those doors.
I mean,
Oh.
it's if they don't know who you are, it's a shock to have someone come into just, hey, not everyone necessarily knows who you are, mister.
A place where it should.
It's when you're in a secure area and mostly female staff and you have a man walk into a secured area that you don't know. Now, if you have a badge, obviously that helps, but at first glance, I could see where people would be a little put off.
You are pretty scary looking.
That's what I get told. I know, just looking, nothing else. I know. I walk around smiling. Okay.
But if I can show you on my cameras
Yeah,
upstairs
you
too,
know
the
which area, and
access.
then we need to let them know, hey, don't use that door.
Yeah, and they need the access taken away. We need to make sure that there's no potential of using the door either.
Got a lot of requests here.
Are there
From-
are there badges allowing them in that door?
The badge
My understanding
access
is
was
should- yeah.
changed to allow them in the door. And they're coming in like prior to court staff, so they're there, you know, I think this morning she was there for an hour before any court staff arrived. Which, I mean, they're just walking through, I'm sure, but
Right, but
it's
it
still,
is a
it's not a good
concern.
appearance of
Right.
people having access.
Makes sense.
It's our understanding you can program it so they don't have access to certain doors.
Yeah. Just have to reprogram those badges.
We are also looking into additional funding for additional badges for the campus if needed.
Yeah.
So, because their funding is open again, so. There's a few places I'd love to have one.
Possible badges and maybe another camera outside of commissioner's chambers. Because her chambers on the second floor, right inside the old courthouse, the big main steps, she's got the Harry Potter chambers under the stairs. And her courtroom's right there. So when she does like an anti-harassment and she may have people who are not particularly happy lingering in the hallway, she doesn't know that before she comes walking right out into them. So we're gonna probably ask for a security camera so she can at least kind of see who's out there before she comes walking out. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because she's under that stairs.
Nobody knows.
No, she
there.
walks out here, you don't know the right, left, and then you got people coming up the stairs from her courtroom. It's a little scary. So I think most everything else is covered, but nothing there is covered. I mean, the front looking that way is covered, but she can see that, but she can't really see who's coming. So they might have some that already exist, but we can
Took me
expand.
4 years to know that office was there.
It is not a matter of people knowing it's there. It's just a matter of her walking out and running into people.
What's important about that
I thought it
office?
was recessed.
It is, but all the more reason she can't see people till she runs into them.
They did years ago take the commissioner board, the name down, so no one knows she's really there. If they can, I mean, because there used to be, I think, a thing that said, this is where the commissioner's at, which is not usually the best way of going about things, but we're working on the funding for that. There should be some funding for it, so.
Okay. Y'all got me confused.
It's kind of a safety
Sorry.
thing.
'Cause
Yeah,
when
she
I
is
come up
she is the
stairs-
only one that keeps her office year-round, same office. So Judge Wallace and myself and Judge Barlow rotate.
Did you rotate courtrooms? Oh,
In chambers.
So, because Moses is one of those locations, so we always got to move there. So we don't have much in our offices because you have to move a lot. Where she's kind of like got a home there. So, anyway. I know we mentioned you guys talking about having a meeting with you guys about GR 29 and including the Superior Court judges. Trying to still set that up and find a good time to do it. We mentioned Tuesdays would be good if we used Superior Court's time and just went from like 1 to 1:30. But if that didn't work, we would need to special set something or just do a noon hour meeting or something like that too. So
When you're ready, we can definitely.
Right now, we're getting done 2:15 and 2:20, so.
our biggest thing is trying to round up 6 judges because I think a lot of them want to be here as part of that process. And I think it's important that everyone kind of knows what's going on and we have a good perspective of that. And so I need to confirm with Superior Court, like their timing and when they can do it. The one issue we're running into is like on a Tuesday when our normal meeting is, that's a Moses Lake, really tough day. Because for instance, if we had the meeting from, let's say, 1 to 1:30, Nick would be going back late to court. We don't want that, so. So. Do you guys have any questions for us?
No.
none for me.
The only other thing maybe to be aware of is with Moses Lake with the parking lot issue. And I'll be talking to Kevin too, since we don't really know what the fix is or what the timeline is. Tuesdays are really big dockets over there. So this morning, for example, we had 90 cases set, 60 people, and their attorneys and the court staff, and the WSU staff, all in that parking lot. And we have people that are, I'm sorry, Judge, I couldn't find parking. So it is full. There's not a lot of places for people to park, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but definitely something maybe to be looked into. I don't know if we can get permission maybe for like the county cars. There's probably like 10 county cars that just sit in the lot. If maybe those can just like park somewhere else.
Who uses those?
We have
Probation has
one. The rest are not ours. I don't know. But there's quite a few. That would open up spots to the public, or even if the employees could maybe, I don't know. But that's on our property. I don't know if we could get permission.
District court on a regular day without having court, technically we'll have 2 to 3 rigs there. Probation will add 2 or 3 more, so about 6. The people on that WSU side, they can fill that side parking lot just with their coming to work car. And then you add court on top of it. So I don't know if there's a way to temporarily have parking on that area right above there. There used to be an electrical place there. I think they process marijuana in it right now. Judging from how Chambers smells when I am in Moses Lake, they're doing something. I think they bring it from the corner on Wheeler up to that location, and I think it's like a drying center or something like that, because they have big, gigantic things coming. But I never see anyone ever pulled up to the front of that building as if it's actually a business. I think they're doing work inside there, but they always go to the back side. So that whole front area is not used too much. The only big problem is that road is also where all the Milky Way trucks come out. So we can't be stopping their processes either, because it's pretty busy on that back street with them guys moving. But
Just something to consider though, if it's gonna be a longer time.
I didn't even want to fix that parking lot myself.
Yeah.
well, district court is thanking you because people are coming to court at an unbelievable rate over there, because we've moved people who have cases there over there.
So now if you get a ticket in Moses Lake, probably live in Moses Lake, and you get to go to court for the most part in Moses Lake. So we're having a much better turnout than, when you have to go to Ephrata.
Do we know what the issue is besides water? I just heard water.
Yeah, the ground is saturated and they have to take out some of the existing gravel and dirt and bring in some bedrock, some bigger rock, and then they can gravel over that and then report. But then they want them to put in some kind of swales. And now we got the Department of Ecology involved. So as you can imagine, the Department of Ecology is not easy to work with. So
No. I was just curious because we didn't know.
Brad said he was working with us trying to figure out a different solution, but that's all I've heard so far. That's Brad at the city.
I was just hoping for a leaky pipe or something.
I wish it was that easy.
Is it just, how big is the spot or the location? Is it?
The whole area.
It is it?
The whole area that's not paved right now.
Okay.
You want to take out I think you said 18 inches. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And then bring it more.
Yeah. Time's up.
Oh, thank you for coming. I don't see a prosecutor. I thought they canceled. He canceled. Okay, well, then we will go into recess until 2 p.m. when we are back for our commissioner meeting. Good afternoon. It is 2 p.m. and we are here for our weekly commissioner meeting. I'll now call the meeting to order and begin with an open forum for public input. 3 minutes per person, 15-minute time limit. Jerome, do you have any public comment?
I do have some public comment. Jerome Moyers, Moses Lake. I just wanted to say my wife and I had an occasion to be out in the country here recently, and it was in the afternoon, and we saw public works pickup parked on the side of the road, and she said, "What are they doing? It's past lunchtime." I said, "Well, they're probably picking up garbage," and sure enough, it was a garbage one, and they were taking a break, I think. I just wanted to say it's nice to see that as out in the country, on the county roads, having that project going, helping clean up that, kind of make it look more presentable. Thank you.
Thank you. We have no call-in users. Any other comment in the room? Okay, then I'll entertain approval of the agenda.
I so move.
I'll second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes to approve the agenda. Do we have any correspondence, emails, letters of support that need our response? No? No? Commissioners, anything? No?
Just have a meeting up in Coulee City tonight. That's our district. That's it.
Okay. We'll move to roundtable items. We have down tourism master plan survey distribution. Just making sure you guys have given those cards out to somebody.
Those cards?
Yeah,
Yeah.
anybody. And then we will be printing some displays. How do we want to do that? When do we want to do that?
Well, you need to decide, do you want
I
that,
need one of these too.
you want like a portrait
Yeah,
shaped one?
yeah.
Okay. And then from what I gather, we can just send them to Tom Beckwith and he'll print them. He said that he has it in his budget. We just
Okay.
need to let him know how many and how big.
Yeah, if we had them, like even if we had them this weekend, I would have taken them to all the places I'm at. So the sooner we can get them, the better. And take them when I'm at events. I can just take them and ask the coordinators if I can stand them up, and I'm sure they'll let me. So
That'd be good.
yeah, we just like this weekend. You have the air show. You have Basin Summer Showdown. You have Drew Gimlin Days. There's like 2 other events going on. So, you have the Soap Lake Food and Something Festival going on.
Folk.
Yeah, down the park.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of things going on that we could have had popped.
Do you want both the visitor and the resident survey on that one
Yeah, that would be
thing?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good call, Caitlin. A lot of surveys coming up.
Yes.
Had the road survey,
Yes.
tourism surveys, homeless survey coming up. I don't remember ever being in charge of surveys before this year. But, okay. Any other items for roundtable?
Staff does have a couple.
Okay.
The ARPA renew reimbursement,
Yeah,
the board approved it last week,
Yep.
but then decided you wanted more questions.
We're good.
answered. Okay.
yeah. We just kind of let Dell know that, hey, what our concerns were. I emailed him also, he responded. I don't like it, but it didn't sound like there were any other options.
And then the other one is the purchasing policy, large invoices for discussion.
Cindy has to put that on the.
That's any of the invoicing that's over maybe a certain dollar amount, just getting to see it again, other than just in the payable.
Tom's deer in the headlights, so he's the one that wrote the policy.
Well,
No. So this was like, there was a $200,000 invoice for Grant County, or King County.
Directors Association.
Yeah, Directors Association.
That was Musco Lighting, so that was an approved capital project in the budget, so.
Which that's fine.
What we should
It's just
do,
those larger items and we don't know a dollar amount. It would just be nice to
I think it just threw us off.
highlight them somehow. It threw me off when I saw King County Directors Association.
yeah, no, that makes total sense.
Wasn't looking to be giving King County $200,000 for much.
No, I 100% agree. So maybe, and then, you know what I'll look into in the new Tyler system, maybe there's a way when we're doing invoices, well, we can do it in GP2, we can put a note, but how we get that note onto the agenda, just to make sure. Let me look into that. Let me see if there's a way so that when there's something over 5,000 or, well, yeah, if it's over 5,000, there's a little a note, this is a payment on an approved capital project, you know, or something, so.
Yeah, there's not a ton of,
Big ones.
there's not a ton over 5,000 really.
Just my monthly $10 million one's to Leidig. But we all know what that's for.
Well, and then the CRA, I
Yeah.
saw the 240 on there this time. Yeah. And then there were just a couple of, I don't even know the companies. It would just be cool to know, like, who it was.
Yeah. We just know it was for the jail based on the account numbers.
Yeah.
I may work on that.
Okay. I need another one. You said a couple.
Just those two.
I was gonna ask, the Public Works, event permit discussion yesterday was possibly rescinding. We were just gonna put it on consent next week to rescind
That
it. Is that,
works.
okay?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we would have done it just as like a walk-on type rescission. So yeah, next week's fine. Any other items? None?
Anything else?
Just about it, Rob. I had one. I did talk to Richard Lights this afternoon. So he will be getting some information back to, I think you'll be sending Barb a letter and stepping away from the board. But we probably need to advertise in for District 3 for a replacement on that. And he has some additional information, but I can share it with you later.
Okay. No other roundtable items? Then I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I make a motion, we approve items 1 through 11 on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent agenda is approved. Do we have any walk-on items?
No.
All right, no walk-on items. Then we can sign. Cindy, do you give them permission to stamp your name?
Yes, please stamp my name.
The fast person who jumped in.
No. Okay. That's all. Are those are answer questions?
Put down there.
There you go.
What does?
Mineral water.
Oh, yeah. There's a really good brand of that.
Is it Topo Chico? Because that's what he was drinking.
It was what?
I said, is it Topo Chico? Because that's what he was drinking.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's like something mountain.
Something Mountain.
I drink it at somebody's house. We don't approve the location, right? Change of location,
Yes,
no.
you,
But we approve the applicant.
That for the
you are you are denying the application.
I know, but
That's all I
just
got.
saying you deny an applicant because they're an applicant, you deny the location.
Wow.
When we deny the applicant, then the liquor control board just returns, comes back or whatever and says, thank you for your input. And then normally it says, you know, they don't find any wrongdoing by the applicant or whatever.
It's allowed.
Coroner money. Big band ARPA reimbursement. Reimbursement for the signage. Yeah. Dust control. Landfill dust control contract. Six-year transportation plan. Sheriff's Office electric medical records. And GCTS backup battery and server racks.
That's not my system.
You're on the last one. It's fine. I'm sure you signed everything there before. You went too far because I missed a flag.
You missed the flag.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Mr. Jones.
What did I do? I missed one?
Somebody missed one. I don't know
Oh,
who.
You missed the flag.
Whoever it was that was putting flags on things, I'm not sure who she is. But
Oh, well.
get your signature in here, please, sir. This one was not my fault.
That was my fault. That one.
Oh, okay, what else? That's it.
All right. Well then, we'll recess our consent agenda meeting at 2:14 p.m. and we'll adjourn for the day.